Love after 60. If he does this, he's secretly waiting for you. Male psychology.
Welcome to Wise Life After 60. So grateful to have you here. You can always tell where someone's heart really is by what they do when you're not around. Not by what they say in moments of charm or affection, but by the quiet choices they make when no one is watching. In Love After 60, I've learned that words may fade, but actions never lie. A man can say, "I love you," 100 times, yet if his heart isn't steady in your absence, those words are only echoes. The real truth of a man's feeling lives in the stillness, in the space between conversations, in the moments when he could have moved on but didn't. When a man is truly touched by something rare in you, he doesn't look for replacements. The attention of others no longer excites him, it exhausts him, because no one else brings that sense of home he once felt with you. He may still meet people, smile politely, even laugh, but somewhere inside, your name remains the quiet pulse of what he calls connection. And that's what we'll explore together today, through the lens of male psychology in love, the quiet signs that reveal when he's secretly waiting for you. So if this speaks to your heart, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Wise Life After 60. Your presence here keeps this circle of wisdom growing.
Number 1. The stillness of real love. In a world that never stops moving, it takes courage for a man to stand still. Most people rush to fill the quiet after love with noise, new faces, or endless distractions. But when a man's heart has met something real, stillness becomes his choice, not his weakness. He's not running from life. He's holding space for something sacred. Stillness, in male psychology, is rarely understood. We mistake it for indifference. But for many men, especially in love after 60, silence is a form of loyalty. They no longer chase fleeting sparks. They've learned that depth outlives excitement. So when he doesn't jump into another relationship, it's not because he's lost his passion. It's because he's honoring what can't be replaced. I once read a 2019 study from the University of Michigan on emotional attachment in older adults. It found that men over 60 often process heartbreak not through dating or talking, but through solitude, through long walks, old music, and reflection. That's how they stay faithful to the truth of what they felt. They wait, quietly, because rushing would mean disrespecting something meaningful. This stillness is not coldness, it's devotion, disguised as calm. It's the way a man says, "You still matter, even in my silence." Real love doesn't demand noise. It simply asks for presence, even if that presence exists in the unseen corners of his day. Sometimes, the greatest proof that he's waiting for you is not what he does next, but what he refuses to do. He refuses to replace you. And that, in itself, is love, speaking without words. Life, however, never stops whispering, and the next sign begins where silence turns into awareness. Number 2. He rejects the game. In today's world, it seems almost normal to talk to 3 people at once, to flirt in half sentences, to swipe through faces like pages in a magazine. The culture tells us to keep our options open, never to wait, to replace love the moment it slows down. But some men, especially those who have truly lived, quietly refuse this game. When a man has seen the cost of shallow connection, he stops chasing noise. He no longer looks for validation in every message or compliment. His energy becomes sacred, and he chooses where to place it with care. It's not that he doesn't enjoy company or conversation. He simply knows that emotional energy cannot be divided without losing meaning. He guards it, saving it for the one person who made it feel alive. In love after 60, this kind of restraint isn't born from fear. It comes from awareness. It comes from knowing that attention without intention is empty. So when he chooses not to flirt, not to wander, not to seek the comfort of distraction, it's not detachment, it's depth. It's the quiet discipline of a man who has learned what truly matters. Maybe you've seen it too. A man who could have easily moved on, yet he doesn't. He remains polite, kind, even social, but something in his gaze stays distant. That distance is not indifferent. It's loyalty in disguise. Let me ask you something. Have you ever met a man who stepped away from the noise just to protect the peace of what he felt for you? Share your thoughts below in the comments. I'd love to know if that kind of quiet love has ever crossed your path. Because the story doesn't end here. The difference between waiting and chasing reveals an even deeper truth.
Number 3. Waiting versus chasing. Chasing is about control. Waiting is about respect. Those two simple truths change the way I understand male psychology in love. A man who chases tries to bend timing to his will. He wants answers, certainty, resolution. But a man who waits, especially in love after 60, has learned that love has its own rhythm, and forcing it only breaks its flow. Waiting doesn't mean doing nothing. It means holding a quiet faith that what's real doesn't need to be rushed. I remember an old friend, Mark, who lost touch with a woman he deeply cared for after her husband passed. Everyone told him to move on, to get back out there. But he didn't. He sensed she needed time to heal, to rediscover herself before opening her heart again. So he stayed in touch gently, sending small notes on her birthday, checking in now and then, never crossing her boundaries. 2 years later, when she was ready, she reached out. What began again wasn't the same love as before. It was deeper, quieter, wiser. That's what I've learned from watching men like him. Real waiting isn't passivity. It's emotional intelligence. It's knowing the difference between presence and pressure. A man who truly cares doesn't chase you to prove his worth. He waits because he trusts that love built on peace lasts longer than love built on panic. When he waits, it's not because he's weak. It's because he respects your timing as much as his own. He's not afraid of the silence between you. He understands it's part of the conversation. And sometimes that quiet respect says far more than any grand gesture ever could. Number 4. The language of silence. Not every kind of love needs words to be understood. Sometimes silence itself becomes a language, one only two hearts can hear. In love after 60, where emotions run deep but pride runs quiet, that silence can say everything. When a man is still waiting for you, he doesn't vanish completely. He remains in the background of your life, not to haunt you, but to honor you. He'll send a short message to ask how you've been, not every day, but when something reminds him of you. He might like an old photo, share a song you once listened to together, or bring up a memory at just the right time. Those small gestures,
are his way of whispering, "I still care. I'm still here." In male psychology, silence isn't always avoidance. It's often a form of protection. He isn't trying to punish you with distance. He's protecting the bond by not forcing it. He's giving you space to breathe while keeping the connection alive. That takes a kind of strength few people talk about, the strength to love without demanding. We often think that love fades with silence, but the truth is, mature love learns to rest there. A man who has truly lived, who has seen relationships rise and fall, knows that words can be clumsy. Actions, timing, and presence speak more clearly. So if you feel that gentle presence, the message that arrives at the right moment, the way he quietly supports you from afar, know this: that's not confusion. That's emotional intelligence. That's loyalty in its quietest form. Tell me something from your own story. Have you ever felt that kind of silent presence where someone's care was felt, even when nothing was said? Share it in the comments. Your story might comfort someone else who's still learning to listen to the quiet side of love. Number 5. He's doing the work. You can tell when a man is still waiting for you, not by what he says, but by how he changes when you're not around. Some men spend their time blaming, drinking, or distracting themselves. But the ones who truly loved you, they begin the hardest journey of all, the journey inward. I remember someone I knew from our community group, a widower named James. After his relationship ended, he didn't try to find another woman right away. Instead, he started therapy for the first time in his life. He told me once, "I don't want to come back half-built." He realized that to love again, truly and consciously, he had to understand the parts of himself that once pushed love away. He read books about communication, learned how to express feelings instead of shutting down. He joined a meditation class, not to become enlightened, but to sit quietly with himself and listen to what he had ignored for decades. Over time, you could see the difference in his presence. He didn't carry that restless energy anymore. He was calm, centered, grounded, the kind of man ready to love with awareness, not habit. When a man begins that kind of inner work, it's not about getting you back. It's about becoming the kind of person who deserves the connection he once lost. This process is what psychologists call shadow work, facing your own patterns and healing the fears that once ruled you. That's the beauty of love after 60. It's not about drama, it's about depth. It's about realizing that love doesn't end when two people part. Sometimes it just changes shape, turning into growth, self-respect, and quiet preparation for something more real. What he's doing in silence isn't waiting for you to save him. He's learning how to meet you again, whole, not broken.
Number 6. The silent transformation. Some transformations happen so quietly that no one notices. Yet they change everything. That is how real growth looks in a man who still cares. He doesn't announce it. He doesn't post about it. He simply begins to live differently. Matthew Hussey once said that a man who truly values love doesn't return as his old self. He returns as someone reborn through stillness. In love after 60, this kind of change isn't about performance. It happens in solitude, in the quiet hours of reflection, in the way he starts facing his own reflection and asking, "What can I do better next time?" You might not see it, but he's learning how to communicate instead of withdrawing.
He's learning how to pause before reacting. He's practicing patience, setting boundaries, and choosing emotional steadiness over control. These changes aren't dramatic, but they're real. They're the small, invisible steps that turn pain into maturity. There's a saying from the Stoics, character is built in private, but revealed in public. That truth applies perfectly here. His transformation doesn't need witnesses to be genuine. It exists in his new habits, in how he speaks to people, in how he treats himself. He no longer needs love to define his worth. He's learning that strength is quiet, and that silence isn't emptiness, it's discipline. What emerges from this process is not a man desperate to be loved, but a man who finally knows how to love well. This is the essence of mature masculine energy: grounded, aware, present. And when he becomes that, he no longer waits from a place of longing. He waits from a place of readiness.
Number 7. Becoming ready, not perfect. There comes a time when a man stops chasing perfection and starts preparing for connection. He no longer dreams of being the flawless partner. He focuses on being emotionally ready. That is the quiet shift that defines real love after 60. The understanding that love does not require perfection, only presence. I have seen it in men who have lived through loss, heartbreak, and time. They no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. They know that passion without stability burns out, and promises without consistency fade fast. What they want now is not the thrill of new love, but the peace of being understood. Readiness means having the strength to hold love when it finally arrives. It means being able to stay during hard conversations instead of walking away. It is having the maturity to take responsibility for your emotions and the wisdom to know that love must be built, not found. As Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." A man who is truly ready has done that work. He no longer hides behind defenses or fears. He meets love with awareness. He does not promise forever, but he offers presence. He does not seek to control, but to understand. He does not wait for a perfect moment. He simply becomes someone capable of recognizing one. So if he is quietly getting his life in order, reconnecting with his purpose, tending to his health, his peace, his relationships, it is not a coincidence. It is readiness in motion. Because in the end, you do not just deserve a man who wants you. You deserve a man who is ready for you. And when he reaches that place of quiet readiness, it's not fantasy anymore. It's love, finally grown wise. He is not waiting out of weakness. He is waiting for wisdom. That is the quiet proof of love that few ever see. The shallow man rushes to forget, mistaking distraction for healing. But a man with depth stands still, choosing silence over replacement, growth over escape. He does not beg, he does not boast, he does not play the victim. He simply keeps a small flame alive, steady and humble. It does not burn to demand attention, yet it never dies. It is his quiet way of saying, "I will not promise to return, but if the day comes, I will be worthy
to stand beside you. True love, as Matthew Hussey once said, is not attachment. It is the ability to hold a door open with trust and maturity. A man like this does not wait to be chosen. He waits to become worthy of the choice itself. So if you ever wonder whether he still cares, look not for grand gestures. Look for stillness. That is where love continues to live, softly but endlessly. If this message speaks to your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Wise Life After 60. Together, we'll keep learning how to love with grace, strength, and quiet courage.